Welcome to Take a Wander with Shebs. Now, my guest today is Elias Vrohidis. Elias has a very unique way of exploring. He has been travelling on the road on a motorcycle. I discussed with him why it was essential for him to explore in this way. I also spoke to him about some of his future goals. So, let's take a look. Elias, I want to thank you very much for coming on today. How are you?
Thank you for the invitation. I am fine. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you very much. Whereabouts in the world are you?
Greece right now, in my homeland.
Just explain to people who you are in a brief description.
Mad Nomad, they call me. I love traveling, so I spend a few years traveling around the world on my motorbike, usually. My profession, the last years, I'm a skipper on sailboats. And I have studied computers, informatics, but I don't do that anymore.
We'll come on to your motorcycle journeys shortly, but I always like to take it back and find out where the initial love for adventure travel came for individuals. So for yourself, where did it all begin?
Myself, I loved traveling and exploring the world. I always wanted to explore the world in my own way, on my own vehicle, independently, and in an adventurous way. So when I was 16 or 18, these dreams, I started working on these dreams of mine. And then I had nothing to do with motorbikes. At that time, I wanted to travel on a 4x4. Then I realized it is actually too expensive. And then I thought maybe I should give motorcycles a go.
From an early age, and so in your mid-60s, 16 teenage years, did you go away with family at all? Because being from Greece, what was your family situation like, and your education? What did you study in school?
I studied in university informatics, and actually I worked several years on that sector. But then I realized that it's not for me. I don't want to spend my life in front of a screen. So I decided to never do that again. My family situation is, we are quite a big family for at least, for European standards, I guess. We are 4 siblings. And we were traveling actually a lot as a family, but always in Greece, or not out of Greece. But every summer we were traveling and wild camping around Greece. That's how we were enjoying our vacations. So we were always close to the nature, and I loved that. I always loved that.
Has to be reasons behind doing an adventure or traveling. So, everyone can say they're a traveler, but there has to be a reason behind it. So for yourself, the ambition of riding a motorcycle, where did that all begin for you? And why was it important for you to start traveling around the world on a motorcycle?
The most important for me was to travel the world. The means of transport was secondary. But for sure, I wanted to have my own means of transport because I wanted to be independent and free to go wherever I wanted, whenever I wanted. And since I love nature, I wanted to go in remote places where public transport cannot take you. So, my initial idea was to travel on a 4x4, but then I realized I cannot do that when I am 20 because I had to save a lot of money to travel on a 4x4. So I started researching a bit about motorcycling, and to see if it is actually so dangerous as they say, and what can I do to reduce this danger. For example, I can wear a helmet, but not only that, I can wear a whole riding costume. And something else very, very important is to ride slowly. So I have time not only to correct my own mistakes, but most importantly, to correct the mistakes of other drivers. When you ride slowly, you have this luxury of time. So then, okay, I realized that I can do it on a motorcycle. It was much cheaper. A motorcycle is much more simple, and that's very important because I repair my motorcycle by myself. I cannot find mechanics in the middle of nowhere, so I had to learn everything, and I had to be self-sufficient. And that's why I think a motorcycle is the best way for me to enjoy these trips.
Where was the first initial adventure? Where did you first go? Because I've read that you've done, a lot of countries. Where did it all first begin with you then, with the journey?
When I was 23, that was back in 2007, I hit the road to Asia. So the plan was to travel 14 Asian countries. Well, no, actually, the plan was to travel 4 countries: Turkey, Iran, Pakistan, and India. But instead of 4 countries, I visited 14 countries. And instead of the initial 10 months I was planning on the road, I spent 27 months on the road.
The places that you went to, was it all around the countries, and how long was it for?
That's a good question, because most people actually, especially when they travel on their own vehicle, they rush through countries and they just cross countries. I don't like that, actually. So I like visiting every interesting corner of a country and spending a lot of time in each country, not in one place. I mean, I go all around. If you see the map of my route, it's a mess because I do a lot of the tours and it's zigzagging and circles in the country. So in an average sized country, I spend about a month at least. If it is a big country, maybe 3 months. If it is huge like India, I've spent 8 months in India, and I covered 26,000 kilometers in India alone. So I've seen almost every state. I should say every state that was safe and possible back then. And that's my way of traveling. I like to visit every interesting corner of a country.
Quite incredible, to be honest with you. I mean, I've met people who have gone on, I've spoken to people on my show actually, travel from China to London on a bike, sailing. I had a Guinness World Record holder for riding a motorcycle from, Ryan Pyle. He was on my show, and he rode from the top of China. He holds the Guinness World Record. I'm not too sure whether he still holds it or not, but I know he did at the time. When you go to, like, for example, India, obviously India is a big country. When you see those places that not many tourists will ever do, and you mentioned something I was going to touch on. You said, is it people have a fear of a place, don't they? When they think, oh, I can't go there, my safety could be in, I could be in danger. But when you go on your own on a motorcycle, does that element of fear ever come into your head? Or do you think this is like any other journey? You just have to think to yourself, right, okay, I'm going to go through, experience it, and take it in, and then every step at a time. Now, how important is that when you document that and tell people this?
That's one of the things one of the stereotypes I try to break through my presentations and books and whatever. People usually fear the unknown, and that's absolutely normal. Personally, I have no fears about the world. I mean, when I travel, no, I never felt any fear. and I think that my life was never in danger. But okay, then I should say that when I was in high school already, I decided to stop watching television. And that was one of the best decisions I ever took. Happily, I did that at a very young age. And that means that, okay, I had no fear in my soul for people. I mean, for Iranians or Pakistanis or whatever, because, okay, I don't watch the terrible news in the television, which are actually not even 0.5% of the reality. Unfortunately, in the news, they show only the bad news because that's what is attractive. So I was, as you said, I was traveling day by day, and if I was feeling okay, of course I've been in places where, or I've been close to places where there was a war. I didn't go there, obviously. I mean, you are not even allowed to go. So, of course, you need to apply some common sense, and then you don't need to exaggerate and afraid everything. I think I was never in danger, and of course, I had a lot of difficult moments. I was robbed, but not violently. I guess everybody has been robbed. Not by gun, not even by a knife. I mean, it was not violent at all. Okay, that's all I had.
Experiences make who you are. So being robbed, something like that should never put you off. You might have an experience, but that is part of life, and you could get robbed in your own country. I had money stolen from my bag when I went to places like China. I had my card swiped when I went to South America. It happened. So I was in, it was one of the South American countries. So I was in Colombia, Brazil, Argentina. I'm not too sure where it was, but they must have swiped it somehow. So, but they didn't. What happened was they sold the card details to somewhere in Florida, and I was doing a long journey, and I flew to Dubai.
I see.
And I flew to Dubai, and then I get a message on my phone saying $300 has been withdrawn from your account. I was like, $300 withdrawn from my account, but you can't let that get to you, because travel is all about the life experience. And you mentioning you document all your stuff. So my job, my idea is to document and show people that these sort of things happen. So South America, people say it's very dangerous, but for me, I found it very, but I found it safe, but you have to be smart when you travel.
Yes, exactly.
So you don't turn into, like when I was in Rio, you don't turn into corners where you think it's dark, it's late. You just don't do it. You stay on the main road and stuff. So it's about smart way of traveling, which I think, again, is the fear of people, oh my God, I can't because this is what's going to happen. But it's just making sure that when you travel smartly.
Yes, exactly. If you apply some common sense, I mean, do whatever you would do in your own country. I guess if you see a dark street which looks very dodgy, I guess you would be careful all around the world, right? Okay, of course, there are countries that are safer than others. But okay, Europe is not actually absolutely safe.
Can I ask you about how you go about funding your travels? So have you had any attention from the media? You said you document all your stuff. Are you working remotely?
As a Greek, Greece is not a rich country, and for a Greek, it's quite hard to travel around the world. But actually, to put it in a very simple way, my secret was not that I had a lot of money. My secret was that I was spending very little money. I tried to minimize my expenses. I thought, okay, what do I need? I need food for me to survive and fuel for my motorbike. Other than that, I will spend very little. So I I didn't spend much in accommodation. I tried to wild camp when I was in a remote place, and actually wild camping is what I love most. And when I was in an inhabited place, where in a city or a town where I couldn't camp, then I was using couch surfing, if you know, a hospitality exchange system. And then people were hosting me for free, and I was hosting other people back in my country in exchange. So, yeah, accommodation is the biggest expense, but I cut this off. And then actually in Asia, which, okay, it's cheap anyway, I achieved to survive and travel on 354 euros per month. Which is actually, okay, even in Greece, you cannot survive at your own home with this kind of money. And I was traveling all around Asia with 354 euros. That was the most important. On top of that, as you said, I was working while I was on the road. When I was in Asia, I used to write articles in the most popular Greek motorcycling magazine. I was writing about my trip, and later the economic crisis came. Greece was hit very hard, of course. All the magazines were bankrupt, or most of them. And when I traveled to Africa, I couldn't do that anymore. So I stopped in DR Congo, and I worked in a restaurant for a couple of months.
Very sensible. For you to be creative and write and then make money from that and live off a very limited amount, because you'd be very surprised when you can live off very bare minimum. You can, I've done it myself, sometimes where you can, like for us, it would be like 20p. You can buy a packet of noodles for 20p and you can survive. You can have that as your lunch, instead of spending €5, 20 cents or 20p. It can be done, but it obviously it can be a bit of a grind, but you have to commit to it because your end result is going to be greater. Some of the journeys specifically, wow, it's unbelievable. Any specific memorable ones that you've had?
The hospitality I experienced from people, and especially in Asia, people who have traveled the whole world, most of them agree that Iranians are the most hospitable people.
Why would you say that? Is it because of how they, how welcome they were?
I was astonished by the people. I mean, the people are amazing because, why I say that? Because, I was stopping somewhere on my motorbike and people were literally coming around me and they were fighting for hosting me. I mean, I was not asking anything. I just stopped somewhere, and so many times people were inviting me for a tea or for a meal, staying with them for a couple of days because they didn't want me to go in the end, and they wanted me to meet their family and meet their friends, and I was feeling like I have friends everywhere. I mean, it's such a warm feeling.
This is it. You see, the people make a place amazing, and this is what I try and show people. I was lucky enough to travel to Turkey last year, and the people made it absolutely amazing. It was a beautiful country anyway, but the people made my time there exceptional. And this is what travel is all about.
Exactly.
You see, it's connecting with people that you may not be able to speak with them in the same language, but you somehow do. Recognition wise, have you been recognized by your country? Have you been recognized by people around the world?
Well, I like to keep it to keep a low profile. So, I'm not breaking any records or anything. I have a website. I write books about my trips, and I can say that a lot of motorcyclists, especially in Greece, know about my travels. But okay, I wouldn't say that I am recognizable all around the world or anything. Mostly in Greece.
I know you said you've written books and stuff. And by the way, where can you buy your books? Is it on your website? Is it mainly? But in terms of is it because you want to do this on a low profile and then say, right, I've done this. This is my journey. Here it is. You know, is there a reason why you don't want people to know?
It's not that I don't want people to know about me or my trips. I don't mind at all. The problem is that I don't want to spend my life rushing and really struggling to find sponsors and put the word out. That's what I don't enjoy. And I don't enjoy to do the marketing, let's say. And okay, of course, I've done it, and I had some supporters, I would say, not sponsors. I mean, nobody gave me money, but there were a few companies that gave me products or their services. They offered them for free to me, or they offered them to in a big discount. So, okay, it's not that I don't want to be known. It's that I know that it takes really a lot of effort to attract sponsors and get a lot of followers on social media, because nowadays that's really important. And this is not really my style. I don't like spending too much time on internet and social media and publish every day my life.
It's a unique thing. Not many people I know, travel around the world on a motorcycle. I know one guy I had on my show. He's been cycling around the world. I had him on my show. He's an Argentinian, and he's doing amazing. And but to do what you're doing and do it on a low profile, I admire that, actually, because sometimes I think people, no, seriously, sometimes social media can be fantastic. Social media for me has been fantastic, but, this is like an old school way of doing it. If you want to read about my journey, pick up my book. This is how you can do it, you see. So I respect that. And I know you said you don't like the marketing side of things, but I hope, just listen to you. If someone does listen to this,
Don't mistake me. I have a website. It's actually MadNoMad.gr for Greece. It is in English too. I publish documentaries about each country I visit. I am on social media. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So it's not that I do it old school, despite I should say that I love old school. But okay, I am on internet. I just don't spend hours every day on internet. So I don't spend so much time to get followers, and I don't market myself. I don't spend so much time marketing myself. But I am on internet. You can find photos, articles, videos, and everything about my trips.
What would be your next chapter? What's your next journey? What have you got planned, aspiration?
We were planning together with Angeliki Duca. My girlfriend. We were planning to travel the American continent, and actually, this time we were planning something even greater, because I would ride the same motorbike I was always riding on my travels, but Angeliki will come in a 4x4 camper van. So actually, Angeliki doesn't ride motorcycles, so she will drive the van. I will ride the motorcycle, and then we want to do something that I don't know if it has been done before. We call it action traveling, and actually it incorporates a lot of activities in our travels. You see, we love spending time in nature, so we want to explore the nature from air, water, and land. That's why we want to paraglide. I am a paraglider, actually. So I want to paraglide during my trips. We want to kayak in the rivers. We do that with Angeliki. My job is on sailboats, so I want to do also that during the trip to save some money and also to explore the places, coastal places by sailboats. And trekking also. Trekking is something that we love doing for days in a row. Enduro motorcycling, of course, which is my favorite hobby, let's say. And then we want to try even horse riding. We've done a bit of that and we both love it. So we will include these 6 activities in our adventure.
Those are all fantastic, by the way. And actually, the question I was going to ask you was, and you've just answered that really. So you do have a girlfriend, because I was going to say to you, when you're on the road quite a lot and staying in different places, different countries and stuff, in terms of, partners, girlfriends, how did you guys meet?
Yeah, partners, when you travel for so long, that's a difficult topic. Happily, I met Angeliki when I was working on sailboats. She was my client initially. That's how I met her. And then we decided to keep traveling together since then.
You seem to have hobbies as well at the same time. So horse racing, horse riding and stuff. So, it's good that you've got a bit of a balance to your life as well. It's not just motorcycling into different countries around the world.
Until recently, I should say, I didn't have so many hobbies because, I was younger and I didn't have enough money. So I was focusing all of my funds and all of my energy to traveling by motorcycle. But I had other dreams. I mean, all these dreams are coming from back then. I remember it was in Nepal, actually, when I tried paragliding for first time. I was 23 years old back then, and I said to myself, wow, one day I want to learn how to do that. And 10 years later, when I had the funds and the time and everything was right, I went to a school, I learned how to paraglide, and now I do it and I love it.
Is there anything else that you want to accomplish before, you give this up? Because I assume that there's going to be a time period, there's going to be a time where you said, you don't want to do this, or is it in your mind you want to do this as long as possible until your legs fall off?
Well, I don't plan for the future or for the late future. So I go as I feel. I just follow my heart. But, probably I will keep traveling for many years. And if I don't travel, I mean, that's what I do even now. When I don't travel, then I find a refugee, let's say, in a mountain, in a remote village, and I spend the winter there. That's what I do the last years here in Greece. I spend the summer working on sailboats continuously, 24/7, non-stop, and then I spend the winter in a remote mountainous village of Greece, which is lovely, actually, much better than the Alps, actually, because it's more pure. And I'm talking about villages where 20 people live. And then I can start skiing just straight out of my house. I do also ski touring, or backcountry ski, they call it in some countries, which means I also ski uphill. So literally, I was starting skiing out of my house here in Greece on the mountains, and I could enjoy all those hobbies that I love in the nature.
There's going to be a time, as I said to you, you're going to want to maybe not ride a motorcycle on these journeys. You might want to do it maybe a traditional way, but it sounds like you've already got that planned out as well. So it'll be interesting to see. Listen, Elias, I want to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, and enjoy your travel.
Take care. That was a great in-depth discussion into Elias's travels on the road via a motorcycle. If you want to follow the next chapter on his journey, you can do so by visiting his website and following him on all of his social media platforms. The details are on your screen now. That's it for Take a One No Shebs. Hope to see you all very soon. Until next time, bye for now.